Hello everyone, welcome to Yorkshire Gamer and one of the infrequent reviews that I do on the channel, and today I am going to be looking at this book, To the Strongest, Rebellion and Retribution, which covers major battles in Ireland between 1642 and 1649, the War of the Three Kingdoms, the British Civil War, the English Civil War. We've already had a debate on the podcast over those definitions of what wars are, and this book is specifically for To the Strongest rules, which is a set that I don't play. Not that I don't think they're any good, it's just that we tend to stick with rules that we play with if we like them, and we don't bother changing. We don't go looking, we don't even look at other stuff. So we've been using Forlorn Hope, or a modernised version of Forlorn Hope for the English Civil War, and we will stick with that. And so I'm reviewing this from the point of view of a non-To the Strongest player who plays a lot of English Civil War, but with a different set of rules. So I'll be looking at how you can adapt these scenarios for your own sets, and it's very similar to the Celtic Fringe scenario books. There was two books that came out. One was a scenario book, one was an adaptation of the rules, and they were also written by these chaps, Bill Linhart, Peter Page and Paul Reynolds. And Bill, Peter and Paul does sound like some children's TV programme that we were subjected to on ITV at lunchtime back in the 70s. But yeah, that's just my weird take on that. But yes, Bill, Peter and Paul have produced this book, and they produced the last one. And if you remember watching that, I was generally overly, pleased with what they'd produced. And again, the summary, if you don't want to watch the rest of the video, this is a really good publication based on a topic that many people, including myself, aren't massively up on. Any war in Ireland is extremely complicated, as my ancestors will attest to, and the book does do a lot to try and set the groundwork for something that maybe a lot of people don't really know about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a flick through the book, and then I'm not going to show you all the scenarios because I don't think that's fair to the publishers. They want you to buy this at the end of the day, but I'm going to look at one of the scenarios, go into detail with it so that you get a really good idea of what you get with each scenario within the book. So let's get the bad boy open. It is let me see, there's no page number, 406 pages long. It is ring bound with card covers and very good quality paper inside with some nice photographs. So ticking all the boxes straight away. Flags of War, never heard of them. My good mate Ian McDonald, brilliant flags. Use his stuff if you can. It is really, really good. A great guy as well. One of the regulars on the Brews in the Binyard podcast, if that doesn't put you off. Title block, and then we move on to some acknowledgements and a table of contents. And this is just me picking this out here. All history is living and affects current lives, often unknowingly, but sometimes consciously and profoundly. The authors are aware that 17th century events in Ireland, both during the War of the Three Kingdoms and the later Williamite Wars, resonate deeply to this day. And that is very, very true, which surprises me a little bit by one of the next lines on here. It was not until Cromwell's final conquest stabilised Ireland. Now, I'm not having a go at you lads. I just think that would cause a fight in most of the pubs in Southern Ireland very, very quickly. But yes, if you know my style, that's the sort of thing that I look at anyway. So moving on back to the book, and this is something I really, really like about these, is this overarching table at the start of the book, because I love a good table, and this kind of shows you the units that are required for the whole of the book to be played. And I think it was the
I can't remember the chap's name, first name, Lavery, who does some of the absolutely brilliant early campaign books for the Two Fat Lardies. It has this sort of thing where there's a big sheet at the front and it just tells you, right, if I'm going to play all this campaign, I need 2 units of Irish Lancers. I need 6 units of Irish Horse. And it gives you a good idea of the sort of forces that you're going to need to put together, either yourself or with a group, to complete all of the scenarios within this book. And then we move on, exactly the same here for the Anglo-Scots-Irish. And then what is really good and what I like about this is it's a really nice, concise background to what we've already said is a very complicated situation in Ireland in this particular period. So this is nice to see. Sometimes you feel with stuff, like, do we need a history of World War II in a World War II rule book is something that we said when we were talking about these things on the podcast. And for me, no, but for other people, yes. And I think for most people, yes on this. And it's really nice to see that we have that. Then we've got a nice map of Ireland, if you're not familiar with the areas involved. And the 4 counties, Ulster, Connacht, Leinster and Munster. And the location of the battles within the book are shown on that map, which is really good. And then a very basic, quick 8 battles, bang, bang, bang. These are like a half paragraph or a couple of sentences about each one. Nicely then into the people who are involved, who you may not be familiar with. And I just want to draw your attention to this fine chap here, Myles the Slasher O'Reilly, who I am going to claim immediately with that nickname as a member of my long lost ancestry. And you don't get, I mean, is he going for a wee round the back of the shed? Is that why he's called the Slasher? I don't think it is it? He's going to be a bit of a dab hand, probably with one of them big swords. But there we go. And good old Myles, he is in the classic Irish song, The Hills of Benburb, or Benburb, or Benburg, depending on where you come from in the United States of America. So, lots of lovely little pen autographs here, not autographs, autobiographies of the various people. And then we have a map key. I'm going to leave that unmentioned. There could be an argument that some of them are factions, but I really wouldn't consider the Irish to be a faction, or the Royalists, or the Covenanters. So that's a really nice map. They are absolutely great maps, and we'll talk about that when we look at the scenarios and individuals. Really, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, really plain, clear wargaming maps, which is what we as wargamers like, I'm sure. And then we are into the scenarios themselves, and as I said, I'm not going to go through each one individually because I don't think that's fair on the authors, but I just want to say here we've got some lovely 28mm figures, which is great, but then back here we've got some and I do apologise, I'm not sure if they're 6 or 10mm, but that's really nice, I think, and I hate to use the word inclusive because it means so many stupid things, but it's nice to see that other scales have been considered within this. I'm a massive 28mm wargamer. It's what I do, but I don't denigrate any of the other scales, and I love to see this when they are shown within each of the, in a book or rule book or a scenario book. It's like, hey, you can play this in any scale you want, and I really, really like that. So as you can see, all the way through, great production values. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly flick to the end before I look at one of the scenarios in detail. And there's an opportunity here to play the scenarios in an order, in a campaign, and to record victories and campaign points. And it's a great way of getting really good linked scenarios is another way of looking at it. But rather than having something that I don't enjoy, a sit-down quick points game, you can have a sit-down quick campaign game based on what's in this book. So really, really positive there. And then we've got something nice. I like to see this suggested reading, especially where it's something that's not particularly well known. There's a good list of books that you can get your hands on here if you want to read further into the period. And then some modern histories and some, even stuff that's got PDFs. Oh my word! And these are, as it says here at the end, 4 King of Parliament rules and Celtic Fringe allow these battles to play simple, yet some rules that provide a feel for the period in greater depth. And what I'm going to look at is its ability to be used for other rule sets as well. I'm sure it works perfectly well for To the Strongest and the Celtic Fringe. Lovely index, much needed, and then a couple of advertisements for Pendraken and Bicorn Miniatures, both fantastic manufacturers of figures in this period, and many others. So I'll just now move, and I'm gonna pick when I can find it. You see, this is how smooth it is. Okay, so this is the Battle of Ben Burb, and this is the one I'm going to concentrate on. Okay, so each individual scenario is very much laid out with this. There's some links to the campaigns that we just talked about as well, and we've got Ben Burb, date, background. Again, a lot of people won't be familiar with this, so this is really good to see. We've got a nice picture of some figures there. And then each scenario is very similar in that it has a briefing for one side with deployment notes and a briefing for the other side. And I'm not saying Irish, Confederate, Anglo-Scots, because the sides change as they always do in Ireland. And deployment notes again. So really nice, clear stuff. You could print these out and hand them to, if you've got 5 or 6 players, 3 on each side, you could hand these briefings to the commanders of those particular forces, units, armies, however you want to deploy, to say what they are, but not factions. And you're up and running. You've got as an umpire, as a game organizer, the hard work is done for you here, which is brilliant to see. Then we move on to scenario rules. Some of these are specific to the Strongest rules, and I think if you're playing it with a different set of rules, then you would need to kind of alter that for your chosen set of rules. Then we've got some map notes and some designer notes, which is useful again for everyone is going to have a different opinion in wargaming. So this is the authors explaining why they've gone for a particular class of troops or a particular armament of troops. And again, we don't know, and the information available is not particularly brilliant for this period. So, and then we've got one of the joys, I think, of these books are these plain, straightforward maps, wargaming maps. And as To the Strongest is played on a grid, everything's gridded, so everything, a square is a forest or it's not a forest. There's no curvy overlaps or anything like that, but this is quite straightforward to adapt to any other. I'm not going to, if I say normal, somebody's going to get upset, but I am going to say normal because most people don't play on a grid. But if you were to convert this to a non-gridded system, it would be very easy to do. And it's very clear where everything is set up within this set of rules and with any set of rules that you wanted to use. We then move on to these things. I'm just going to fold the page over so you can see this a little bit more clearly and a little bit more detail of what you get within this. So each of the armies, as you would expect, is given an army list. And we've got Benburb here, the Irish Confederation. Then we've got an officer and specific stats here for To the Strongest.
stroke Celtic Fringe, and this is done in terms of the rules. So gallant may not mean anything for your particular set of rules, but I think that's easy to translate into another set of rules, because he's not a duffer, is he? If he's called gallant, he's not a duffer. And then we've just got an ordinary general. He would be average, and then we move on to look at the individual units themselves, and they are given names. These I quite like these colours, which are linked to the map. And it says pike and shot, pike heavy, seasoned. So again, that might not fit in with your set of rules, but we know the pike and shot, we know the pike heavy. So if you like us and use Forlorn Hope that uses a ratio between pike and shot, you would just change the ratio so that it was pike heavy, and then seasoned and veteran I think is covered in most rules, and it just goes down, and you would look in. I think these hits, I think 3 is going to be like an average size unit, and again we've got the horses down here, and these have only got 2 hits. So I think one of the suggestions that I made for the Celtic Fringe book was that actual numbers of men were given, so it was a lot easier for people like myself who use a different set of rules. And they've not gone with this, which is fair enough, and I think one of the authors kind of bit back a little bit on it, which is fair enough, but I just think it would appeal to a wider audience if it was that sort of information was available to people who use figure ratios, for example, or a different set of rules, because I think this book is brilliant for everybody. You don't have to play to the strongest or Celtic Fringe to use this book, and just little things like that could make it a little bit more easier for everyone. So good old Myles, Uncle Myles, great Uncle Myles, Slasher O'Reilly is in this one, which is probably why I've picked it. And then we move on to the Anglo-Scots, and again it's exactly the same. There's sufficient information here, bar the numbers of men in a unit, to quite easily put this down to your set of rules. So we've got here pike and shot, shot heavy, so you just flip your ratio in Forlorn Hope to a more shot heavy ratio, and that's it. Straightforward, really easy to do, and that's it. I'll say that that's it. That's very comprehensive for one particular battle, and it's exactly the same for all the other battles involved. And we'll just go back onto the index. So in here we've got the Battle of Kilrush, the Battle of Glenmaquin, Liscarroll, Ballinvega, Benburb as a mini campaign and as an individual battle, Dungan's Hill, Cockney House, Rathmines, stretching from 1642 to 1649. So there we go. That is Rebellion and Retribution. Let me just zoom out a little bit so you can see it all again. The Honesty box, this was sent to me for free gratis from Simon Miller. I'd consider Simon a friend, and I've been straight up with you. I don't play to the strongest rules. I play Forlorn Hope. So this is a fair and open and honest review, although I have received the book, and I will use this to do some battles in the future without a shadow of a doubt. It's something I've been interested in that maybe I haven't researched a lot, and I've got lots and lots of English Civil War armies, but maybe I'll get an Irish army. I've looked at Covenanters in the past and haven't done it. But maybe me and Ian McDonald from Flags of War, we can have an Ireland versus England. Sorry, Ian. An Ireland versus Scotland matchup at some stage in the future. Thanks for watching. I hope this was a useful review, and the book is available direct from the Big Red Bat himself to the strongest, and from places like Caliver Books and what have you. So if something you're interested in, grab a copy. It's well worth it. It's an excellent, I'm not going to say
introduction, because I think there's not much more that you need in here, to the Battle of the Three, or the War of the Three Kingdoms in Ireland, and fighting the battles on the tabletop. So until next time, Sithy.